Yeah,
You guys ever have that moment of panic?
I literally, today before my doctor's appointment, I was like, well, I'm just going to use this time to review Warner's character sheet.
I did not think to do that, and I should have.
Is everybody ready?
Sure. Baby.
So do we want to start with the creation of the campaign, or do you guys want to talk about your characters?
I'll say the creation of the campaign.
Yeah.
I want to hear from your perspective. I think.
So, Evilise is not a creation of mine. I just did my version of it. It's a world in multiple Final Fantasy games. It's from the Tactics trilogy, Vagrant Story, and Final Fantasy 12. And 12 is my favorite of the series. I also really like the other ones I mentioned as well. And I find that world very interesting and rich, especially the games take place over hundreds of thousands of years apart from each other. So a lot of the races come and go. So I wanted to take the folklore and the myths from those three different eras and sort of mix them together. And as some of you probably know, I also grew up reading a lot of Greek mythology. I always find the use of elements in mythology to also be really interesting. That's why the Titans had different themes. And at your guys' request, I also tried to make each Titan, when you guys would fight them, like a puzzle, and then integrate more puzzles into some of the tombs as well. So I'll be curious to hear what you guys thought of the campaign overall, bearing that in mind. But and I appreciate that we get to do this every week. Like, I think it's really cool, and I really value it. And I not to get too serious, but I really appreciate that you guys put your trust in me, and that if I ever do something with your characters that you don't like, that you can always just tell me. Like, I know with yours, you probably had no clue I was going to have the sorceress be the final boss.
No, not at all.
The moment you asked me, can the sorceress be my patron? I was like, I think we're going to have a boss flip in the middle of the campaign. And then,
So it was your fault.
yeah, I always intended the Demogorgon to be the final fight with the final kaiju fight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
At least it wasn't both of them together.
Yeah, they would not have gotten along. And then another big one was when we were working around Azyla's character. You were talking to me a lot about your parents, and I was like, can you give me a little bit more leeway? And I couldn't tell you exactly why. It was more like a trust me, bro, sort of moment. So I hope that worked out. But as far as the creation of the campaign, my goal was for it to be more puzzle and thematic rather than just, I guess, an overarching story, because I realized during parts of it, when I was creating initially, some of it felt too much like Airborne, like some of the political stuff, so I pushed that further into the background, like when Duke Bardoba passed away, I wanted that to be a background thing rather than something you guys were directly involved with. So I think I would love to hear what everybody's favorite NPCs, favorite moments, what was great about the campaign, what were the weak parts, if any.
What happened to the Harrigans?
The Harrigans?
Yeah. That one's been laying on me.
Yep. The tree went somewhere else.
Alright.
I too have a question.
Yeah.
When you built out the Titans, did you consider us in each of the Titans that you built out? Like our abilities?
Yes.
And such?
So there's one of them, I think it was Galaxian, that you had to do the different sigils with the different schools of magic.
Mm-hmm.
And I made sure that at least one of you could do one of those, each one.
No, not the puzzles, but the Titans themselves. Like how mine worked out because I had wings so I could fly. Orin's worked out because it had slam, so it's more.
That part was kind of just a happy accident, to be totally honest. That didn't. I just went with the ones that I thought sounded cool because there's 8 of them for this campaign, and a lot of them some of them didn't make it. But that part was kind of random actually, as far as which one the one-horned devil would take for himself. And that was another thing that you guys almost missed out on was getting to use him against the sorcerers, because I've been trying to get you guys to meet Elmira for the past couple of sessions. And I was like, this is going to be their last chance. But luckily, you guys picked up on some of those clues, and Brian made fun of me, weeks ago for doing the family trope thing, but I don't care. I like it.
That's fair.
Does everybody have a favorite NPC?
Let's see. Vander was a fun one.
My favorite NPCs were the what are they called? Furries.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. I like that. That was a very. Out of everything else that we were seeing around us and stuff, that was the most
Yeah.
outlandish but a real comic relief, but also serious. And I like to see them how they came into use to defend the city.
Yeah.
Even though Kess never figured that out.
I needed to figure out a way to also take them out of the equation somewhat, so that you guys weren't like, why don't we just make an army of these guys? But they were there to defend the city from keeping the demons from just teleporting in.
Yeah. That was neat. Those are my favorite NPCs. Yeah.
Okay.
I liked phone.
Yeah.
Imagine
That was
that.
one I didn't plan on. Sometimes those end up being the best ones. By you, Elizabeth.
I don't know. I think I really liked the Vuries or Vander.
Okay.
It was kind of mostly just because you can't put Yoda into the middle of a campaign and not expect me to enjoy that. So
Vander was really cool. He was really entertaining. I greatly enjoyed getting to interact with him. But the fact that Pete came back and was just there and then all of a sudden was a problem is something that I absolutely adored. I
Yeah.
was like, excellent.
I
He
don't
is
think-
going to be a problem for the rest of
The only reason I didn't say Pete is because I don't feel like he's an NPC anymore. He's been in every
Alex.
fucking campaign. He's just another character. They might as well put him in the fucking
He's
campaign.
basically like Delenn at this point.
Right, he's just there. He's always
Except he's
there.
more of like the masters.
Yeah.
I did like Syra too.
Syra,
Yeah.
what did you think of that, Mariah? Because that was a
I was
twist.
so confused at first. I was like, who are you? What happened? I liked the way like that got integrated into it and like the inherently playful manner by which they could then interact was hysterical. And it played very well into like the way that I was very aggressively anytime it was like, I'm not praying to her. I don't worship her at this point. Like, I've seen too much of her. Like, sure, she's a god, but like also she's a mess. And that played so lovely, like so well into it. It was really fun.
I really enjoyed interacting with Syra. That was that interaction where I came to knock on Sora's door and you answered. I was like, who the fuck is this? I was just as confused as Kess was. I was like, well, this is gonna be pretty easy to roleplay.
Who's your favorite NPC, right?
Oh, I said Vander.
Vander. I have one, and I think I've decided this for a while. My goal with Larza,
Or Yisho's also good.
yeah, this is
Yes,
cool.
that was badass.
Larza's my personal favorite because my goal was to make the anti-Joffrey from Game of Thrones, the little kid who was a king and would basically just kill anybody for any reason.
Or
Just
make the
gigantic
opposite of
brat.
that. Yeah.
So I was like, I wanted to make the whole polar opposite. Because I find the idea, because I read a lot of Arthurian legend when I was in high school as well. So the idea of a very young king, kind of in his death, but always trying to do his best, is very interesting to me. So
That was interesting to see play out as well for a 13-year-old.
There was a nice dichotomy between Lars and then the guy from Sky Peak of like being relatively similar ages. Like yeah, they were different. I think the guy.
Ashley Marina's kid.
Yeah.
He was like, I think he was 16.
Yeah, he was older, but like the difference in maturity level and kind of like that came through really clearly to be like, you don't just have to be a little brat that needs Sorbo to watch over you.
Is there anything you guys, any lingering questions, or like I said, criticisms I could take into consideration for further campaigns, or stuff that you liked that you would like to see repeated? Because the puzzle thing I'm gonna probably build on for Strix anyway.
Yes.
The one thing I would like to see, and this is like a personal character thing, is I think it would be interesting to see what happens between Orin and Quantum. Because eventually that has got to come to a head.
You guys still have 5
Whether
more
that
left?
be Orin dies because he's stupid and just goes at Quantum, or if Quantum figures it out and like calms it all down,
I had a
which I don't
question
know
for
what
you.
Quantum would do.
As the owner of those islands, Quantum's an ambassador, and would he have heard about this child at some point?
Ooh.
Just
Well, but
make
here,
no
here's
sense.
here's
Stay away
here's
from
what
it.
here's what I'm gonna
Like,
say in
there's a lot of
response
trouble
to
there.
that.
Just leave them be, avoid them.
Here's what I'm gonna say in response to that. Master Orin knows Master Blaze, Ash's uncle.
Yep.
He knows Ash. He knows Marina because he knows Ash. Right? None of them have ever used Quantum's name. And Ambassador, what's her face? I can't think of her name. She knew not to say Quantum's name. So everyone has figured out, don't say Quantum.
But would they have said, "Hey,
They
Quantum, avoid this child at all costs"?
even
I
do
think
that?
based on the way that happened, I would say yes. I would say Quantum knows that Orin is on some level looking for him and also knows
Deeply traumatized by him.
traumatized.
You had a chance to take him out with Pete. Pete was ready to kill, to lure Quantum in and attacked.
Except she kind of ruined that.
Yeah.
She took that out of my hands.
Hey.
She 100% took that out of my hands because I wanted to see where that would go if I could ever run across Quantum. But I think that at this point he's starting
be an
finally to
accidental
turn
meeting,
away.
or-
It would be an accidental meeting.
Or he hunts him down.
Well, but Nero hasn't been pushing as much. Nero has just
Well, they're still kind of confused about who Quantum is, aren't they?
Nero knows. Orin has not put that together yet.
So speaking of characters, starting with the trade, I want to talk a little bit about what went into creating Cordio.
Oh, let's see.
And what is it like playing a married couple in game as well as in real life?
It's a lot of fun.
We played at that, yeah.
It was a blast playing a married couple. It was also made it a lot easy since that is just real life.
Yeah.
Let's see, my inspiration for Cordio was from a spin-off of the Legend of Dritz books. The Cleric Quintet has a druid dwarf named Peekle. So that was my inspiration for it.
What is his name?
Peekle.
Pickle.
Peekle.
Pickle? Really?
Uh-huh.
I thought it was just Pickle.
Do you have a favorite moment for your character?
Oh. I mean, I feel like the axe theft was a really badass series of
That was
events.
early on too. You guys avoided a whole side quest
Yeah.
doing that. I had it was a ball that you guys were gonna stage like a theft for, but no.
They just got it on the way over.
Which I knew was a possibility, but I didn't think they'd do it.
Very efficient we are.
We paired ourselves together very efficiently when we were building our characters. We talked through a lot.
We did indeed.
Let's see. And I think my only complaint for this campaign, similar to one towards the end of Elizabeth's campaign, is when we're leveled up too fast. Like when it's session after session, we're only like 2 sessions between them.
Yeah,
I like it more spread out so we get more time with each level.
fair enough. Okay. I feel like I have another response to that. It'll come back to me.
Circle back.
Yeah, I mean, we're level 15 with these characters. I figure at some point we'll return to them for a short thing, probably maybe to do with Quantum. Who knows? So we'll definitely see about that. What
Just
about
don't
you?
let Quantum put you in a bubble.
We all ganged up on
Yeah.
Quantum.
Yeah, I know it was kind of like out of your hand at that point because we had spent so much time doing other stuff that we kind of needed to get the Titans, and as we collect the Titans rapidly towards the
Yeah,
end.
do you guys
it's
still
just
like having your level up tied to a thing that you do rather than every other week we level up?
Yeah.
You guys
I do
mean,
prefer
that?
the milestone. It's just sometimes they can be spaced really close together.
Right, if there's
Yeah.
a way to make it to where the milestones are spaced roughly 2 or 3 weeks, 3 sessions apart, but that's really hard to do as
Yeah.
a DM because it's like you don't know what the fuck we're gonna do.
Right.
We
I-
could totally skip out on that. So
Yeah, I wouldn't mind spending more time with each level. Like,
Yeah.
even more than just 3 weeks, because at some point
Yeah.
there is a lot of moving parts
you just lose track of.
that you lose track of. So I can't imagine if you're scaling to match, like, higher level characters, the things that, like, you also have to match with each level up. So I could, like, if I'm losing track within a single character sheet, I cannot imagine.
Yeah.
Proud of you. Good for you.
It just takes a lot of practice, that's all.
Yeah, but yeah. So
But,
I also.
I think it makes it a lot easier to kind of get more connected with your character and have their levels be defined on what they're actually doing,
Okay.
rather than defined on just like
So did
progressing.
you guys like the individual secret character goals I had for each of you guys that you didn't know about? Like, your guys' was tied to, one of the things was procuring the axe.
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember what your guys was off the top of my head. Yours was finding Pete. Yours was something to do with your
confronting
brother.
Asmodeus.
Or Asmodeus.
You're meeting your dad.
Your brother
Yeah.
was also tied to another one that a potential direction, and yours was bringing the sorceress back to life. That was one of the big ones.
Well, I think they did a great job of that.
Yeah.
Love the-
I didn't even know that's what I was doing.
How does
I had
everybody
no-
feel about the villain swap?
Unexpected but interesting, except the banana peeling part. That was horrifying.
See, that was one of
That
my
was,
favorite
I'm gonna
moments.
say that was one of the best parts about it.
I love the peel, the banana. Peel, the banana.
Then just the matter of fact, Kess is dead.
As I will
Yeah,
be
right.
forever.
Yeah, actually, I didn't see that coming. I was like, oh, dead. That took him actually fucking dead.
That was horrifying.
Uh-oh.
Round 2 for you.
But the swap was nice. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was a cool twist to see, like, oh, I thought this whole time preparing to fight this Demogorgon and stuff like that and his minions, and then we find out through that little side mission we got
Yeah,
to
do you guys
watch.
like stuff like that as well, where you guys get to play other, like, basically NPCs during events?
If you tell us, only if you tell us that we're gonna die super fast, because I spent a lot of time actually like developing that character for no fucking reason.
I'm so
I thought about the voice, I thought about the shit, and nothing, no fucking reason to do that at all. He was dead in a second.
Which character?
So, exactly, that's exactly which character. I don't know. I
was
don't
I
remember
supposed
their
to build
name.
one?
It
But
was.
only if you tell us that. If you tell us, like, just let us know. You don't have to tell us like what's gonna happen. Just like, hey, don't get too invested.
I thought I did, but maybe I didn't make it clear enough. So
Yeah,
I
like
will
don't
keep
get
that.
invested at all. Like didn't go full into a background, but I had a voice and all that stuff like that,
Yeah.
and it didn't get to be used at all. So I was like, well,
Yeah.
okay. But if I would have known, it's just like don't
Just
get invested
come back
at
in the
all.
multiverse.
Just focus on their character sheet and abilities. Then yeah, I like doing that stuff. But like that side mission we did with Goober and
Fox
Fox and all of them.
and Annabelle.
Yeah.
That little Rogue One mission in between.
Yeah,
That was fucking cool.
yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
That was really
That was another one where I was like, I was intentionally trying to like kill you guys, and then somebody came in clutch with that shield.
yeah. It's goofy.
Yeah, only one of you didn't make it.
Rip Curly.
Yeah.
It's not too often.
He jumped out. I was
I genuinely
Right
didn't know.
before.
like, why? I was like, I wish you would have stayed inside.
That was really funny.
So what about Solra's creation? And the same
Mhm.
question about playing a married couple.
So I really enjoyed playing a married couple. There have been times in the past where, like, my and Trace characters will do something that's acts in opposition to one another, which is really interesting to have, but also depending on the level of degrees that trace the party, leads to a rather tense car ride home. So it was, but in reality, it was a lot of fun that we kind of started on the same plane, working towards the same goals. So we never actually ended up doing it, but we were joking that like we would have different fight maneuvers where like our abilities would mesh, and our character sheets, especially at earlier levels, were really complementary in ways that we didn't truly show. Of like we had abilities that would make it easier for two people to navigate the world together. So that was a lot of fun to build out. Yeah, and the Axe of the Dwarvish Lords was really, really important to us for a variety of reasons. Not least of which is that that's the reason that Solras actually looks like a dwarf, because she's truly is a drow who got cursed by the Axe of the Dwarven Lords.
What?
So at one point you asked if you could look at my character sheet, because like you wanted to see how my warlock was built, and I was like, Unfortunately, no, and it's because
It's
like
a
you can
drow,
see
not
Legacy
a
of the Drow as like
Yeah.
that's the reason why. And she always wore sunglasses, and I would forget to like mention it, but like she literally has just a pair of sunglasses that she wear out in the
There's
sun.
little things that Sora does throughout the campaign that
The
I
lack of sleep.
obviously knew, and I'm like, that's clever, but it's like you wouldn't pick up on it.
So dancing lights is a Drow cantrip, and so when she was talking with Dritz, at some point when they're shaking hands, she casts it so it's dancing over their hands to see if he would like catch on to it. But that's the real reason we went to the Undercity, was because like that was she was not raised within like a large Drow civilization, but she still is Drow. Like her in-laws don't know that because for as long as Cordio has known her, she's looked like a dwarf. Because one of the fun things about the Axe of the Dwarvish Lords is that if you touch it, and any
If you
non-dwarf,
attune to it.
yeah, any non-dwarf that attunes to it, they get cursed to become more and more dwarf-like.
So you had a slow transformation.
Like over 7 days.
Over
Yeah.
so 7 days. It's slow. Oh god, I bet the in between phases were pretty gnarly.
And it's not considered magical change, so it can't be detected by detect magic or dispelled, and you can only get rid of it if somebody casts Great Restoration or remove curse on you.
So you were Drow, but you looked like a dwarf.
Yep.
But I've been like in a dwarf form for over 170 years.
So you just accepted it.
Well, we'd also talked over that at some point because we were like, so what happens if we if somebody casts a remove curse on me, then all of a sudden I'm Drow? He's like, Cordio's gonna be like, well, now we really have to find this the axe. I'm not a big fan of this.
So you're what was your god's name again?
Alistair.
Alistair.
That makes more
It's the
sense.
Drow goddess.
That's a
It's
drow
the Drow
goddess,
goddess.
right?
Yeah, that
Okay.
makes a lot more
That
sense.
makes a
I
lot
was
of sense.
curious as to
Why?
how that happened.
It's because
So does
she-
your god know that you were originally?
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we're
100%.
She was a Drow when she made the pact.
I made a pact with Eilistray, essentially, like, I don't have enough power to get out of the Underdark, I need power from you, and Eilistray's, the foundational part of their bargain was, Loth is trying to collect these artifacts to shore up her power, I need you to steal them before she can get to them.
Oh
So it was
wow!
removing
So
them
you
from
were actually
her-
you were trying to
Yeah.
you were repatriating them back to where they're supposed
Yes,
to go, but
yes.
also at the same time.
Yeah, but keeping
Preventing
them out
Loth.
of Loth. So Loth was going after
Wow.
the Axe of the Dwarvish Lords, which is why we ended up meeting. Because
That was
I
on the
had
axe,
the
and
axe,
she got the axe at one point and became a dwarf.
but then I lost the axe, but he found me
As a dwarf,
as
like
a dwarf. Yeah,
how long after you turned into a dwarf?
probably not that long. Probably
Because
like
you guys have been
4
together
or
for like
5
200
weeks. Yeah.
something years.
It's like
now?
150 years, right?
Or 100 I thought it was
we
136.
have it written down
I thought it was 136
It's
or
written
something.
down somewhere, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
in session 1.
You guys, so building upon the Drow stuff, you guys totally could have met Dritz way earlier on in the campaign. Like
Yeah?
you guys snooped around long enough in Lowtown, you could have been a
I didn't know Lowtown was even really a thing.
I messaged Alex
a
at
lot of
one
the
point.
citizenry feel that way too.
Yeah. But I messaged Alex at one point and I was like, hey, so I just remembered, I was looking through my notes, that there's a city of a highly populated drow in the Undercity of New Ravenastri, so just as a heads up, I've remembered that, and that's now a side quest of mine to go. And that's why in the next one, I accidentally left.
And how do you feel about the portrayal of both Eilistrae and Dritz in this campaign? I know the Drow stuff is really, like, you're a big fan of that, and I'll admit my knowledge of that compared to other D&D stuff is probably a little bit lower.
So I really like it for a variety of reasons, like the Drow specifically, but I chose Eilistrae because Eilistrae, and at least like within the world in which Dritz was created, was a part of the dark pantheon of elvish gods, but she didn't start that way. She accidentally betrayed her father, and so she was like willingly banished down because the idea was that the dark elves would need somebody eventually to guide them back to the light. So I thought that was a fun way to play that or to connect it to it. And then I don't, like, I like Dritz, but I'm not, Dritz was not like my childhood favorite book series.
I guess I meant, like, how they were portrayed in the campaign, this campaign.
I had no like previous conception of how Eilistrae would have interacted, so I liked the way that she was represented.
Okay.
Because it very much played into their relationship. Part of the reason why I asked specifically, I was like, okay, where are we taking Dritz with this? Because I wanted to make sure that the character that you were bringing forth was going to inform my actions and like my interactions, and not just the character that I
Knew from the books.
knew from the books.
Yeah, this is my attitude towards like D&D lore is that's what it is in the world until you guys encounter it for real. Like it's could have happened, but until you see it or confirm it, it's myth rather than history.
Like Milo's stories.
Yeah, yeah.
That never actually happened.
Is that it?
Do I have anything else? Do I have anything else? I don't think there's anything else.
So what about Orin, the creation of Orin and Nero? Obviously that's a returning character.
Yeah, so my whole premise with that, one, I thought it would be really fucking funny.
Yep.
I agree.
Two, I feel like because we have such a continual string of events, right? We sometimes forget the impact we have on the people around us as we go tramping through. And that was just like one of the moments where someone did something really stupid. No offense, but someone did something really
I stand
stupid,
by my decisions.
and
It was probably me.
No, it was me.
it was
This
him.
was Quantum and Airborne.
Oh.
And so I thought it would be
Real miles.
really interesting to explore the effects that we are
phone call
having.
trying to brainstorm characters for you.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, and I was trying to figure out how to build that character, and eventually I settled on the idea of, well, if I'm playing a character that is traumatized, first of all, their reborn made sense because I died and Ash had to revive him because he was dead, and then it also made sense. I felt that it would be funny, kind of, also consequences, if part of him longed to go after Quantum and
Yeah.
part of him was just kind of horrified by the whole notion. And that was when we were playing around with different builds, and I was like, well, why don't I just do both builds?
Yeah.
And so that was kind of how that went, and that was when I talked to you about doing the dual personality.
Yeah, the Jekyll and Hyde sort of thing.
And then when I was deciding on my name, the first name I came across was Nero. Specifically, Nero being the ancient Roman emperor who supposedly was playing the violin and getting drunk while all of Rome burned.
Yeah.
That was who Nero was named after, and then I thought it would be interesting to just flip the name because it's two sides of
Yeah,
the
that
same
worked out really well.
And so that was the idea, was you guys got both sides of the same coin. It's the same guy, but two very different personalities and expectations of the world.
Yeah.
And specifically how both were dealing with the trauma. One was just mad all the time, and one just wanted to get drunk all the time and didn't want anything to do with any of it. So that was kind of how that happened. But
It was fun because we talked about that kind of for years. Like, what if that was like a future character or something?
yes,
So it's fun to finally see that like materialize.
yeah. Well, we were finally in the right timeline to see that happen.
Yeah.
And while it started off kind of as a joke, I also didn't want it to be,
Yeah.
because I did think that consequences.
Which, of all of the people, Quantum would still be like, oops. But
Yes.
good way to illustrate it.
I think it was
I
just
think we need a
probably.
bastard.
I think it worked so well though because it is just one of the most memorable moments that we have had. I won't say it is the most, but it's up there.
It's up there for sure.
Unintentional slaughter.
So Zyla's kind of another returning character, and you and I talked quite a bit about her backstory, and obviously I did stuff in secret. What went into the creation as far as evolving her from when she appeared in Minotaur Mountain versus now?
Well, first off, would y'all like to hear what I wrote as the recap for the thing?
Sure.
So I put, hang on. Spoke Josh. Andreas came back with Syra. Andreas looks good. New look. Force Supreme Healing, Enkeg Dagger and Damage upgrade. Yoo-hoo. Went to eat, did questions, Orin invisible, haha. Searched house, found nothing, left. Talked to Dritz, prepared for battle, went underground, found brother and sorceress, cast snake Elmira image, hugged brother, weird. Convinced to be good, broke horn, joined our fight. He loves Elmira, his mother, better than my parents. They give up to die. Raised by bandits, killed sorceress, got to top. Soldiers. Soldiers fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
I am so glad I did that, by the way.
Wholesome good.
So, when I first started creating Azyla, I knew that Trey had a Dragonborn character, so I reached out to him to see if Azyla could maybe be in some sort of relation, but he gave the idea of, instead of a related, because of the type of Dragonborn I wanted to be, that, and wanting to be a rogue and stealing, that she actually went to Greaves' tower and stole the hilt and the pseudo-dragon
The staff
Staff.
of the pseudo-dragon, yeah. Or pseudo-dragon.
So
That
that
thing
kind
is
of
still
started
going
off.
around.
Oh yeah, she
I
has it
have
now.
it.
That is still going around.
I've had it the whole time. I just haven't used it.
Do you know where that came from?
Nope.
So that came from a one shot that I ran way back before Mariah even joined us.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's still in
jeez.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, she hadn't even joined us yet playing this. That came from way back there.
Oh wow.
And his character
Mhm.
picked it up because they went to the silver. Those one shots called the Silver Tower, and they were sent by Womp to go pick up. I think it's Womp to pick up the to go retrieve this artifact because they thought it was a staff of dragon summon.
Yeah.
Turned out to be staff of the pseudo dragon, and you just get a tiny little dragon friend. But they were worried it was going to fall into the wrong hands. Well, this numbnut decides that he's going to walk into a puzzle room and accidentally solve the puzzle.
Oh.
Because it's supposed to be, there's a giant mirror wall,
Yeah.
and it shows certain braziers lit, because there's a series of braziers in the room. And if you
Okay.
didn't light them in the right order,
It was fun though.
Okay.
nothing would happen.
Right.
He literally just walks into the room and he uses the fire that you're supposed to use because it's a magical fire. He uses the fire you're supposed to use and he just lights the ones that needed to be lit in the right order without looking at anything or even trying. And then a portal opens and I was like, really? Because he comes in and he's like, I'm going to light them. Okay, in what order? These. And I was like, stop.
Yeah, this one, and that one, and that one, and that one.
Stop. And then portal.
He called me as he was driving home. I did not have good service. I was working 10-hour days, like, in the field, like, hauling ass over down trees and stuff. He calls me and was like, can you step outside? I want to tell you about this. And then he proceeded to give me a play-by-play of that exact interaction. He was so happy.
It was so
That's
great.
funny. So, I like on Skyrim, I love Skyrim, and my favorite thing to do is steal everything and then sell everything. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna play as a Skyrim character, but because I'm always the Tabaxi or the Khajiit, and then I'm always like pocketing everything. So I'm like, okay, I could do that. That's fun. And then I was like, gonna have a speech impediment, and I'm not gonna read because bandits. They don't need to read, they just steal and do their things. So that's how that came to play. And then, what was the other questions?
Just like what went into building your character and how you think Azyla changed from Minotaur Mountain to Titans of Evil.
She definitely went from not trusting people, being afraid to show, not really afraid to show her face, but just like knowing the repercussions of people saw her face.
Why do you think it seemed like out of the group Andreas was her favorite? Is there a particular reason for that?
In the one shot we did, he gave her a bug bar,
Okay.
and even though she's a vegetarian, she enjoyed it, so that's just something that stuck with her.
Cool.
And then she enjoyed Kess too, to an extent, until she got turned into a dwarf. And then after that, she's just like, no.
Was it getting turned into a dwarf, or is it because you couldn't look at Kess without seeing the peeling of the banana?
More than likely that.
Yeah, that's
And how do you feel about the reveal that your father is Asmodeus?
Completely unexpected. I wasn't really sure what to expect, so I didn't expect anything, so it was definitely surprising. I know Sora kind of opened her up out of her fear of being unliked because of the past and her facial features, so that helped a little bit. And then Cordio just kind of being like, I can see you, but I don't care what you're doing, was just like, okay, so I could trust him to, if I steal something, not say anything, or just potentially take it.
And what about Tegan?
Tegan was a friend until he wasn't a friend. And then Orin was kind of like an up and down thing, because Azyla wanted to steal things, and Orin was like, no, and then Azyla was like, yes, but I want to, and then Nero was like, no, no, no.
absolutely not.
And then Azyla was like,
Awesome.
but I enjoyed playing
I'm gonna tell you something my father said, and I probably shouldn't tell you this. As long as I don't know you broke the rule.
I feel like that was pretty much the unspoken rule at the table. Towards the end of it, it was just like, just look the other way. As long as I'm not looking, just fucking steal, do it.
Because that's
Even at
Well,
some
you
point,
guys got
Cordio
really
was just
good.
like,
You guys got really good. I was paying attention as to whether Orin was there when you guys were doing shit,
Oh no.
and you guys got really
Yeah,
good
they
at
got
making
good at
sure that
pointing
Orin
right
was
now.
not there.
Once you
paying
once
attention,
we got
right?
known, it was
Right.
alright, we're gonna self-select you from those interactions.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
and by the way,
Yeah.
any of you guys could have imprinted onto Joshua's egg. It was almost you, because I think you two were in the cellar
Yes,
at the same time.
I snuck in there,
It's
and
like
then
whoever
he followed.
got close to it or touched it, he was the one that breathed on it. So
Yeah.
I think that would have traumatized Orin, quite honestly. I think he would have been traumatized if it had been him.
Which, again, out of the group's alignments, like, they were the two that were most likely to go ahead and touch it, because Cass would be like, guys, like, don't break into his stuff, like, he's housing us.
I didn't
like,
know
stop."
they were in there.
I was just being curious as what's around that I could take to help the group.
And speaking of Cass, the biggest question I have for you, Zach, is how does living with children now impact you playing basically? I mean, she's grown up technically, but she's still kind of a child in a way. Did that impact it at all?
No. I could have played this character even without kids. I just wanted to play a ridiculously naive person, and Cass gave me that perfect opportunity to do so. But no, like it's a.
And how do you feel about her transition from being sort of Valen to Shutterfly?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. I really, really enjoyed that. I got to keep my summoning ability, and honestly, it's amped up because the things I can summon now and how fast I can summon is much better than what I was when I had the sorceress's powers. But coming up with her and designing her. Designed her obviously for the one shot, and I had no idea who her patron was at that one shot. I liked the idea of playing Warlock and having Hex and kind of going down that path.
Yeah.
I had no plans for it. And then carrying from there and having her grow up for a couple of years to go on this new adventure. Originally, it was gonna be Valen. I was just gonna see if I can make it to where Valen just kind of works in a weird, strange way. But then I just had a thought. I was like, Alex, is that alright if the sorceress is mine? I was like, but I think it's Valen the whole time. He's like, yeah, sure. We can do
Sounds
that.
like a plan.
Yeah, he's like, I like it. And I just thought, I really didn't know what was gonna happen with it. I didn't know if she was gonna be I was gonna be feeding her power and that stuff. No clue on how she was going to actually interact with me and whatnot. I just thought she was going to be a patron, and then suddenly it would be revealed.
I was curious to know if you knew, or if that was just kind of like a character turn. Like, if that
Like
you weren't
OC?
actually Valen's
Like,
patron.
IC or OC?
OC. Like if you as
Oh,
the
yes.
creator knew that
Yep.
Valen wasn't supposed to actually be your.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was his idea.
Oh yeah.
Like my thing with
Oh, yeah.
Asmodeus, where I didn't have any idea that was gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew from the very start about that. I just didn't know how it was going to play out. It was interesting trying to be a lawful necromancer and convince my group of friends that, oh, no, this is good, this is good, this is
my
good. I promise. It's a car,
Telling
it's a
them-
good car, it's good, it's good
Just kept
stuff.
putting them down.
It's a car.
And
Yes.
you guys killed that guy from Barovia at the very beginning.
Uh-huh.
The split-faced cat.
Yes,
cat dog.
yes, that
Yeah.
was the bone guy, because he, what's his name, Cypher?
Cyrus Bellevue.
Yes, he
And
worked.
I,
So he was actually a bad guy. So I did kill a bad guy. He worked for fucking Strahd. And he tried to lure us to our deaths. If you re-listen to our Strahd session,
Yep.
he was
Maybe
trying
he
to
didn't
lure
have
us
a
in.
choice.
Oh, he had a choice.
We didn't
the
know
fuck
that.
out of it.
But we
And then he was
didn't know
working
that.
for a witch. So not a good guy.
Andy fireballed
And
me
he
in the
assaulted
face.
somebody.
After he was assaulted first.
No, he wasn't.
No,
we stuck up
I
on him. We
scared
spooked
him.
him. We spooked
Emotionally
him.
assaulted.
And he should be spooked. He's doing crimes. He's out here fucking doing bad shit.
What's funny is I keep forgetting that you were supposed to be a necromancer.
Yeah.
Because you were so focused on the being good part.
Mhm.
I keep forgetting that technically
I was a necromancer for like a good, I don't know, like, what, how?
Good
when
luck
did
with
it get
that.
split?
Campaign,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much
Yeah.
half the campaign, yeah.
Jeff
over.
in your bag and
Yeah, I had Grandpa Jeff for like ever. I put a harness on him, I had an axe and everything like that, and I lured him back in the bag, and I was going to pull him out for combat support, but never ended up coming out. So he just got stuck in the bag, and when I turned into a good kiss,
You could no longer cast
yeah, he was just in there, and I was like,
just gonna be a
but I was embarrassed. I was like, I don't want them to think I'm still doing bad stuff. I was like, this is from earlier, I promise.
Shot out no combat. She summoned a zombie.
Right, exactly. It's like, no, you just don't look a zombie, kill it. It's not me. So that was very enjoyable. It was the first time, I think, I've ever had a character that was so at conflict with everybody, morally. That was hard. I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
lie. I'm a very conflict-averse person. That was very fucking difficult. I started taking things personally.
oh, he
Oh,
did.
stop.
He did.
I know.
Oh
I was
my
like, I can't
God.
do that. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't play characters that go against the group's morals. But the problem is nobody gave him a fucking hard time. That I thought about it. No, not like me. You refuse to allow this to continue under any circumstance, no matter what the fuck I said. And you refuse to believe that it could possibly be Valen, even though it is theoretically possible it could be.
Yeah.
And you refused to believe it. You gave me no leeway at all. From the very first session, it was, this is evil, this is wrong, never gonna happen ever again. Even though your guys' fucking morals were flippy-floppy. So I was like, wait a
We
minute.
had a line.
So that bothered the shit out of me. Because I was like, why were they so hardcore? That doesn't seem in character. I was like, and why would they not believe even for a slight second? And I had no leeway, and then from that point, I could not use my powers. And I was like, this sucks, because you were summoning fucking zombies left and right. You created a goddamn army, and we utilized that army of dead, unfucking lawful gathered people to take on forces.
What I said, that is completely bullshit. I understand how that was frustrating. What I mean is that I give Trey a hard time for the shit that he did all the time. It
Right.
just wasn't in character.
Yeah, it was under the table.
It was an actual person, a
Right,
person.
like, what the fuck are you
He was like,
doing?
did you seriously just fucking do that?
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
No, that makes sense.
Well,
So that was,
like I
was
said
hard.
at the beginning of this,
This is rough.
if it ever feels off your character, just let me know.
No, I wanted to play through it because I felt like, because I knew where my character was going. I knew that I wasn't eventually I was going to be released from her power, because I couldn't, there's no way I was just going to finish the campaign. I knew there was going to be some arc with it, so I just pushed through it, and then talked myself out of being personal, taking it personally. But I was like, damn, this sucks. Like, I can't do any of my fucking cool shit,
It's hard,
and it
it's
is
hard
cool.
playing an evil character.
Yeah, but that's a lawful good by
Yeah.
yeah. So and it's crazy is I had to think it through all the way. I even talked to her about it. I was thinking it through. I was like, technically, from my perspective, you guys are fucking evil because these guys are good and you guys are fucking cruel bastards. But you're my travel partner, so I guess I got to get along with you. But then you guys, the more interacting with you, I started to notice the trends and started to see as Kess, like I see there is something odd about what's happening with me and my powers and shit like that. I started to actually see it, but apparently not soon enough.
For context, I was playing Corey came from a Doro home. They're very anti-evil, anti-necromancy, and she escaped the evil Loth
Of Loth.
Menzoberranus, which y'all didn't know about. And
Yeah, that would
Loth
make more
is
sense.
on one of the planes of hell.
Yeah,
And
right.
so it's like, oh yeah, we just send them down to hell. They get tempted and like they come back up. We're like, excuse
It's a
me.
quick travel to Nine Hells for him. It feels
Yeah.
like an eternity.
Yeah, exactly. And
It
it was very much along the lines of we just like looked at each other and we were like, oh child, no, you are selling your soul. We have to convince you of
It
this.
was fucking
We're
funny.
trying to save
Thank
you.
you.
I re-listened to that session so many times. That was so funny.
We were just like,
That was
I'm
amazing.
sorry, you just did what?
Right?
The immediate, like, yeah.
Like, there's not a good god in any pantheon
That would do
that
something
sends
this
souls to
awful.
hell to come back to help you.
Yeah. So that part of being cast was, man, an
Oh, my
adventure.
Lord.
I definitely don't like being. I know that now. I didn't know that going in. I know it now. I just can't build characters like that.
I think it would have been more fine if it was just a normal zombie and not the ones that went down to hell got tempted and
It's me.
Yeah, I know.
Of course, I thought of that.
Yeah, of
I was
course.
like, "Can I have this bow?" It turns into a
Which was such a cool thing.
Yes.
And if you had been playing somebody who knew, then they were like, yeah, this is maybe not great, but like, you know, like it is effective. But
Right,
you probably
they
would
gave
have
it to me.
responded differently. But
It's
instead,
the redemption form.
it was the like this is a good thing, and we're like,
Like, if it was
redeem
like
himself.
the recognition of, no, I know this is bad, but I use it in a good way. It's like, I disagree, but maybe I was like, no, this is good, this is fine.
Until it
Yes, I
happened
know.
to Pete, then you guys. That's
It's like,
why I took you
well,
guys
he
on board.
deserved it.
Fuck.
we're still gonna kill him.
Right.
However,
Fuck.
Zyla was just confused on what the fuck was going on.
That was nuts.
which is really funny because if it had been Rilva and Knick-Knack instead, they probably just would have been like, that's a really fucking cool bow. And gone with it. But that's
Right,
just
Rilva.
But it was the
Right.
convincing that, no, this is perfectly fine. This is a goodly God's decision.
which we were just like,
It's
how do we tell you?
just
How do we convince her?
Carl, welcome.
It was like, this is a young child being manipulated into doing terrible things.
Huh?
Oh man.
Well, you all did extremely well. I'm always very impressed each campaign. Even the ones I'm not DMing, your guys' creativity and how that bounces off each other. It's a rare thing to have. Because I've played with many D&D groups throughout high school and with my father.
I mean, there were some like legit heartfelt like conversations that Soul Rep and Cass
Yeah.
had. That was like some really, I don't know how to put it. Like that was, like you said, like our energy
shit,
and our stuff.
bro.
Right, it was. Yeah, it was.
I still think it's funny that Warren listened into the whole conversation and leave you a note, and like because he just didn't want to embarrass you.
Still wipe. I wipe every time now. I use my mage hand to hold it, and I just take a little napkin and just wipe it. I've been doing the mage hand thing from the beginning. I was like, I don't like touching.
Did you get more comfortable after the orgy?
Yes, way more comfortable. I got way more
You
comfortable.
were tossed
That's-
into a deep into the pool.
So honestly, it's put Kess now at the end of the campaign because you guys like how's the arc. Kess has no idea what to do now. She's a man. She's a completely different race. Like she's completely changed all of her magic and what she believes. She's no longer following Valen. Doesn't feel the need to go back to Valen's temple and serve him because that was kind of a traumatic experience. So they want to step away from it. So at this point, Kess is like,
It's a whole new character.
yeah,
It's the
it's
same name.
entirely new person, right? So I think that was pretty cool to see.
Tess gonna change her name.
No,
More manly name.
Would Cass... Okay, so we...
It's cast now.
Yes.
Kess.
we saw you die, and we were like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, can you fix it? Because, like, reincarnation, would you have rather seen, like, what happened and not been reincarnated, or did you like the way that we immediately were like, we gotta fix it?
Yes, no, I like that a lot. I like that was immediately just like, can we put it back together? Try to fix us.
It was the ring of the fire. That
Right.
didn't work in time.
It's like, oh god, mend them back together.
Zyla always come in clutch with gold.
Is there a
Yeah,
race
that
you're
was-
hoping for?
Yeah.
That
No.
you would, that you
Would
would
there have been something that you wouldn't have been excited to play?
Oh, not at all. No, I was open for pretty much anything.
He was a whole
but
new
I
start.
can't believe it was a mountain door.
That was
Out of
hysterical.
all the things we could roll, it's
Yeah.
a mountain door.
Yeah, I
That's amazing.
was I the one that rolled for
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
me? Okay, I couldn't remember if it was me or if I had made you do it. Alright, so I just like when I looked at the chart to see like what the result was, I was like, wow.
What about Andreas? How is he now that he's a human?
Oh yeah.
So,
You know,
yeah,
I keep
he's-
forgetting that I
he's-
towered over you
He's
guys.
pretty much the same.
Oh, me too.
it was a very short party. That was
Yeah.
delightful.
Very short.
Short kings and queens.
I think I'm 6'9".
Yeah, you're fucking tall.
Tall as book.
I think I'm 6'2".
How tall are you in your drown form?
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I do have a picture
No, I'm 6'6".
of what she would have looked like as a drow.
So
Will
we
you
were
ever
almost the same
return to
size.
the
Yeah.
trial? Is there a way to do it?
Yeah, so I
Like,
think
reverse curse or greater
And
restoration.
then you just be like,
so
Really?
remove
Just-
curse would
She's
work.
never done it.
Yeah, without knowing. Well, because it's easier to navigate the
Silas
world as a
always
dwarf
proud
than
of
it
that.
is.
Yeah,
For
what's
money,
the
so-
drow's lifespan? Is it still the same as the door?
Yep.
It's longer.
No, it's long. It's the elf lifespan.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
so it's like
yes.
1,000 something like
Yeah.
that. Holy
So if I
shit!
become an ice druid, I'll still outlive her.
shit.
Archdruid.
Archdruid.
Archdruid. They
Yeah.
said
Because
ice.
they
Yeah,
they
sorry,
I was like, what the hell's an ice druid?
they age 1 year.
They chill themselves so they don't age as fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Every 10 years is equivalent to 1 year as an archdruid.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Uh-huh.
that.
And
Gremlins
on the
can
dwarf-
fucking
Is
live forever.
an ice druid basically just an ice mage?
Yes. But they only turn into like snow foxes and polar bears.
It's useless in a desert.
Uh-huh.
Though I got one recently that I think would also be really
Sit in
good.
the Undertale shop.
Okay, yep, that's a good idea. But let me just actually find it in this album.
But
You can just copy it from the. You
Oh.
passed it. It's right there.
so right back at you. Your creativity and the way
That's
you
charisma.
integrate all of our characters
Oh.
into it, and keeping things fresh, keeping things new, keeping things unexpected. Like I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, not just because of what we're doing, but also what you're doing,
Yeah.
or what you have planned. So kudos to you. Thank you for always like putting obviously your whole heart into DMing.
Yeah.
I can tell because like you go full out with the campaigns, with the character arcs, with
Well, to be frank,
helping
it's
us.
the gaming group I've always wanted in high school. It's like half the table they just wanted to kill stuff. The other half the table was interested in the story, and I had to. It was like round hole square peg.
Yeah.
But
Well, I also loved your willingness to take stuff that I had created, like
Yeah.
that I had run,
Yeah.
and you took stuff and you just used it, and it made sense.
I'm glad that it made.
Or
I was
with-
worried. I was like, should I not touch this? But I was like, how do I not touch this?
Right. Say Atlantis is a new world that just showed up. It's like you gotta like refer
Yeah.
to it and like have things change in your world.
Is everybody still enjoying it being a continuing
Yes.
world? Is
Yeah.
anybody
Yes.
having a desire to start over or somewhere
I
else?
think you do a good job of creating self-contained stories with just enough of like Easter eggs
Yeah.
that it's tying into the world without us feeling constrained by
I never
everything
wanted to feel like
that's
a
happening.
gimmick either.
You know what I mean?
Well, if Pete shows up to Strixhaven, we're gonna have a problem.
Did we kill
He should
him?
not be within 500 feet of a school.
It's a college. It's a college. Nobody
Still
there is
school.
Doesn't matter.
underage.
Doesn't
Still
matter.
school.
Doesn't matter.
It's still a school.
I can confirm he's not going to appear
I'm
in
just
Strixhaven.
saying. You said no one's underage. You're
I have-
underage.
I'm underage. 100% I'm underage.
I have other
They don't have
plans
to
for
know what
Pete.
your real age is.
That's fine.
You got other plans for Pete?
I do. Oh, you guys know I plan stuff.
Oh,
Sometimes campaigns in ahead.
oh yes.
Well, that was awesome. I mean, technically, we still have one more section left, which we're about to do now with the afterward. But yeah, overall, I'm happy with the campaign.
Yeah, I think that was an amazing campaign. I really love the traveling from our original continent and
Yeah.
coming to a new
I
continent
thought
where
that
we're the
felt
strangers.
Like the smart thing to do.
Yeah, that was cool because we were the strangers, and we were the ones kind of just out of the loop of where the fuck everything is and what to do and the new culture and all that kind of stuff. So that was cool to see new cultures and interact with
And
them.
did Ravenastri and Eagles the whole feel
Yes.
unique enough?
Yes,
Okay.
but to me it did. To me it did.
The one thing I want to see is we need to go back and actually create a map of our world.
Yeah, someone's been working on it.
I
You
started
and I
one
need to sit down together and do that sometime.
because
Yeah. You know
I
how to
started
use the
one, but
program.
I kind of lost track of it, and so now it's kind of like worthless. Especially because I added Atlantis
Right. Yeah.
which is pretty massive. So it would be interesting to see like how our world is building out,
Yeah, I agree.
what it's looking like.
Definitely.
I agree.
Does anybody have anything else?
Why is there stuff to steal?
Great time.
Yeah.
Fucking your guys' married couple stuff is epic as fuck. Like it was played
was a lot of
perfectly, and it's still like you guys didn't play yourselves. You played your characters.
Yeah.
So like your married relationship in the game was a lot different, like in real life. So it really was remarkable to see you guys play it. And it kind of felt like you just fell right into it.
It was we did have a honestly our
They're both
long
lovers,
cards
so they're
devolved into like
You should just let her take one.
very explicit patterns, and one of which
I
was
looked
about D&D.
first. I asked with my eyes. I looked at her for permission.
And then you ate her Cheez-Its.
No, they're buffalo wings, so they're kind of spicy, which is why I grabbed a water. But I will open up the sharp cheddar parmesan one for you.
Sharp cheddar.
Unless you want Chex Mix or
No, I'll take the sharp cheddar.
I'm sorry.
So we talked about like how
rare.
our relationship wanted to play out. But so this whole time, every time that we all asked you all for money, it's apparently important to me that you all know that
I have only 20 gold.
he only had 10 gold for the vast majority of it. I, however, had over 11,000 gold.
Holy shit!
Because anytime that he had gold, he gave it to me, and so so the last time, anytime that we needed to bring somebody back, like we could have paid for it out of pocket, and we just didn't.
You fuckers. I don't know why they should have to pay for it all.
it was a team
I
thing.
still.
Especially because he was the one that was doing it.
And
himself.
can you
It
blame
was
them
with
for
the
not?
5,000 that we each
What
got.
it always made me laugh, however, is I was like, I only have 10 gold, so you'll just count me out and not count us as two separate people, which we have more gold. So you're like, okay, we gotta split it 4 ways. Like, yeah, 4 ways. Just have a
I just have a few
fair
times to be like, we'll pay more for you.
Or normally because it was somebody who's dead, it'd be, yeah, we gotta split it 3 ways.
At one point, my max was like 6,042.
Well, this is after we just got like 2,500 gold, or was it 5,000 each?
5,000 each.
This is after we just got 5,000, so we had been working our way through it. But we were also quite
Wealthy.
wealthy, which is not how we started this campaign.
Well, now I know which way my gold compass is going to point.
It'll
Good
point
luck.
towards us, because it's arcane lock against you, buddy. The bag of holding? As I look through.
As things should be.
All right.
Did you ever make Oren's room on what's her name's deck? Aurora proof?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Maida.
Maida, yep.
I was like, what's her name?
Um,
I was gonna call her Meredith. I was like, that's not right.
So, Kes did have 6 books of Milo on her. Do you guys want to hear them?
I do.
Should we wait for Trey to come back
yes,
first?
Absolutely. 'Cause there's just 6 of
And then on that note, we'll move into the one
Yes.
shot.
Just to, so you guys would have seen them because you'd be like, oh yeah, no, look at these. We're off the island because we get off the island. Like, now I can show you guys these without anybody ripping them to pieces.
We were waiting on you because Zach wants to tell us something.
Oh, I can't wait.
So Cass has been carrying around 6 books of Milo. So Milo's Adventures.
Do they have
Um,
pictures?
No, but they do have detailed descriptions.
You would have to read them to us one of them.
Oh, I'm gonna read them to you. That she, after we got off the continent where Milo's hated, she'll pull them out, show them, and showed you. So, what she got is a Milo adventure, Strahd's destruction. It's about how Milo killed Strahd and saved his son Amir and his companions from their inevitable demise. Milo swooped in like an angel and saved the day by dealing the final blow to Strahd. He animated the sun sword and drove it through Strahd's chest. Milo, being particularly a god himself, whistled and got the attention of Bahamut, who came and opened up a way out of Barovia. Milo gave Bahamut a fist bump, and Milo flew off to save the day somewhere else. The Adventures of Milo and Pedo, a friendship beyond realms, tells the story of Milo and Pedo taking on some nasty gnolls that had kidnapped some of the residents of Nardor. Pedo and Milo share a brother-like bond that combines Milo's bard magic and Pedo's masterful archery skills to save the day. The Adventures of Milo and the Hero of the Swamp. This short story tells the tale of the time Milo and the gang went Thought you liked that. Milo and the gang, the other adventures, went out into the woods to take care of an old hag. Milo snuck up to the hag's cabin and tried her nasty brew, just to show her how tough he is. He dealt with the hag while Talon single-handedly killed a great swamp monster. The hero, we got three more. The Hero of Nardor. This novel tells the story of the time Milo and the gang went back in time and saved Nardor from the sorceress's magic. Milo and Valen fought side by side. He personally saved Eleniel's life and took down a dragon. In the end, Milo made the evil sorceress breakdance herself to death, once again saving the day. The Magnificent Steed tells the story of the true and valiant bond between a man and his steed. Through short stories, this novel shows us some of the adventures Kronk and Milo have been on. From the tale of them arriving to Nardor and being attacked by awful fish monsters to the glorious battle with the evil sorceress. Novel covers it all. And the last but not least, certainly not least, a Milo adventure, Creed's Betrayal, tells the story of the time Milo and the gang went into the Underdark and Creed betrayed the whole group. But luckily, Milo was there to save the day. After everyone else was taken down by Creed, Milo defeated Creed with the might of his magic, powerful band. He showed mercy on Creed, and together they got everyone out to safety. So those are in circulation. These are just copies of these are just copies. I wouldn't bring the originals with me, not my adventures. But these are in circulation, so...
So wait a minute.
Mhm.
The premise of that second to the last one, is the premise of that whole thing just that Kronk is the steed?
Yes. It's the story of his valiant steed and their relationship. Yes.
Does Cass believe that that's how these stories went down?
Creed-
Amir was there.
right, for Strahd.
Yeah, and
She
and
knows
look
the
at
millennial.
Darren. Yeah,
She would know Strahd's
was embellished.
is embellished. She fully believes Milo and Pedo. No one can tell her otherwise.
She loves Pedo, doesn't she?
Yes.
Just-
Has he
No
been
one's
acting
gonna
out
tell
since
her.
Petal of
He
Us?
believes the adventure of Milo and Hero of the Swamp. Talon's gone, so he can't tell anything.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the Hero of Nardor. He knows that one's embellished, but that Milo played a big part in it.
Okay.
The Magnificent Steed, all of it.
Okay.
And then Creed's Betrayal, all of it.
I would love to just believe that like all of the Nardor characters, while watching like essentially, Cass just comes up really excited. I learned about that adventure. You're part of the gang.
You're part of the others.
You're one of the others. You're one of the other ones that doesn't say.
Would
Thanks,
Cass know about the pseudo
Millennial
grade
would just
staff
like watch and decide.
had I have used it? Or
Prince
pulled
just
it
gonna
out
sit
at all?
there and be like, you gotta kill him.
So,
Maybe, probably not.
Let's publish it.
Would Cass have known, like, if Isla had used or said something about the pseudo grade staff? That one's
probably not. No, because there's more of those things around. So
Okay.
I would have probably made that connection. But all those books were made originally by Ritza,
Mhm.
and Milo was able to save them from the pits
Mhm.
of being burned. And those are the 6 books I was able to save. So she saved them. She made a bunch of copies of them.
From that one shot that you and I
From the
did.
Pumpkin Patch Adventure.
I listened to that on the way back
Yep.
from
Yeah, but since Ritz is no longer an author, there is a mysterious
For now.
author still continuing to write novels. I won't go into which, I won't tell you the details, but the titles are Milo v. Gadara, Milo Finds Atlantis, and Milo's Pumpkin Patch Adventure.
So Milo either has is paying somebody to write these, or Milo suddenly has time.
Well, it's some books about Milo and his adventures have been showing up in Nardor. Travelers and merchants have been bringing them in. When questioned about if they say when questioned about them, they say that a stranger gave it to them for free. The stories tell of how Milo saved Sky Peak from Gadara, as well as a couple other.
Well, if you guys will recall, at the beginning of this campaign, there was that play you guys saw of how Milo saved Atlantis.
Mhm. So
With
there's
Artemis
there's still
and Orin.
somebody out there, an author somewhere,
Right.
writing novels about Milo, making Milo the hero.
You know what's funny is that play and the books and everything, and we know that Milo's not there. 100%, he's not there. He's still gonna get the credit.
It's all, this is going to come around. Hornblower saves the day again after the troubling defeat by the Demogorgon.
And we're like, Kes didn't save the day. She was just one of us. And it's like, Milo!
That makes more sense.
And the game.
So the real question is the gang still the original gang, or does the gang change?
It's just whoever else is involved with the story at that time. That's
Milo
the
rescues
game.
his daughter and her friends.
And her friends.
This is where Lineal and Huid are just start sitting down and just being like, just interchangeable at this
Eventually,
point.
Elenial is gonna have to stage an intervention. Like, she's just gonna have to. Yeah. She can only take so much bullshit. She's really patient, but eventually she's going to crack. And I don't think you guys have ever seen a very mad Elenial before.
Sounds like a one shot.
Yeah, exactly. When Liam would find this funny, a Darren would start to get embarrassed on everybody's behalf. So a Darren would be like, alright, Lineal, let's go.